Hey, so one of the most common questions that I get asked is about social media ROI, because everybody wants to know that their social media is making them money, right? There are so many ways to track content results. You can monitor clicks or page views. You can see how your ads are working. There's all those numbers on the Insights tab of all of the social media platforms, but none of those are actually going to tell you how well that your content is actually doing. You could have the best metrics in the world, but if you're not clear on your ideal client and your messaging, I know I talk a lot about that, you're not being effective in your content or your strategy, and you'll never find the success that you're looking for. The first step to creating visibility is by effectively using your social media. It's not reaching the right target audience, you're not going to find social media success. So how do you really measure that, right? Let's answer the magic question. So first of all, what is it? Social media ROI is the return on your investment from your social media posts. While a lot of people like to measure their return on investment with social media in a monetary value, we prefer to measure it during non-monetary goals. Now, for example, if you're trying to increase the amount of your brand interaction, then your ROI would be measured in the amount of engagement that you're getting from your content or your followers. The metrics and the strategy that's right for your business will largely depend on what your business goals may be. Now, I want to let you know, so often we get social media confused with other sales tactics. It's not uncommon for me to run across people that are saying, I'm posting online, and then they don't do anything else, and they're wondering why the money's not coming in. Social media is meant to increase the visibility of your product. It's not meant to be the sole marketing thing that you do. You also need to be, potentially running ads. You need to be reaching out to people one-on-one. You need to be going to networking events, or wherever your ideal client is, that's where you need to be showing up. But social media is not a set it and forget it type of thing. You have to get on, you have to engage, you have to talk to people. But you also need to remember that social media is meant to increase your visibility. And then once you do that, and once you get your messaging right, then that's when the sales are going to naturally come in. But there's a lot of steps that happen before that. So how do you actually measure it? There's a couple of things that I want you to look for when we're talking about in terms of success on social media. One, analyze each platform. Most people are focused on follower counts on social media, but we teach our clients to be more concerned about engagement rates, because you could have thousands and thousands of followers, but if they're not engaging, then they're not buying. And that's the important part, right? Is that they're buying. We also teach our clients that it's important to understand where their ideal clients are. And we'll talk more about this in a minute. But if your clients aren't on LinkedIn, then don't worry about being on LinkedIn. Be somewhere else, be where your ideal client's hanging out. So it's important to know that too. When you understand how each platform is working for your company and what you want it to do and what the goals are, then you'll be able to read more into the insights. Next is track the data. So once you know what those numbers are and you know what you're looking for, you need to track it so that you know what's growing, so you can see how things are growing over time. And we teach our clients to not only track their data, but also know how to know what posts are performing really well so that they can create more like it. Because if people are really responding to a certain type of video or a certain type of post, then you want to be creating more of that. One common example that I get is posts that have pictures of the client, or their family, or something besides a stock photo or just a blank background, always gets more engagement. So make sure that you're including pictures of yourself in your posts, even if that makes you uncomfortable. Okay, and then last is determine the actionability. Now, if you're getting a ton of likes on one of your posts, but does that translate to more business? Probably not. Maybe, but probably not. One important metric is to determine if your content is actionable. So for example, does your post have an attractive headline and a good photo, like I just talked about? Probably a photo of you, or any other type of call to action. Does it encourage your audience to follow through? Or are you just making a post and then not asking a question or not asking them to take the next step with you? That's going to affect your conversion rates as well. Because if you're not asking someone to do something, they probably won't do it. So let's talk a little bit about why your social media isn't showing results. So let's say you're doing all those things. You're tracking, you're looking at your analytics, and you're including actionable items in each post. There still may be some reason that your social media isn't converting. So one of them could be you're not using the right messaging for your target audience. Now, one of the biggest mistakes that companies make using their messaging is that it's related to themselves and how they speak and what they prefer instead of what their target audiences prefers. So here's an example of that. If you're a fitness company and you sell a protein powder and your target audience is women who are looking for weight loss tips, you don't want your brand to sound very masculine or talk about how you're bulk up using the protein, and you probably don't want to use pictures of men in your marketing, right? Because that messaging doesn't align with what you're trying to create. Okay, second, you could be using the wrong platforms. So in addition to messaging, you need to make sure you're playing in the right places. So often I talk to business owners where they'll say, well, everyone's on TikTok, I need to be on TikTok. But is your audience on TikTok? Because if they're not, that's okay to just say no and be on the platforms that they're on. You want to focus on the critical networks that your ideal clients are playing on. So for example, let's say your target audience is high school students and they spend all their time scrolling through Instagram or TikTok. You probably don't want to waste your time with Facebook or LinkedIn. And it's okay to say no to the platforms that you know aren't working for you. Okay, third, you don't have a content strategy. So many companies will jump into posting on social media without having some type of goal or some type of strategy. They just post. They think that their company will grow by posting random content that doesn't speak to their ideal client and doesn't ask engaging questions. So if this sounds like you, no shame. You just might want to look at creating a strategy and maybe reevaluating your goals with social media and start posting things that will work with your audience. And I want you to also look at what is the value of your own content? What are you trying to accomplish with it? If you don't know what purpose it serves, then it's going to be really hard for somebody else to determine that as well. So you'll want to figure out the goal behind each one of your social media posts or your blog posts or your videos. Like, what are you trying to do? What's the purpose of it? Are you trying to engage? Make sure that you understand why you're creating the content, or otherwise your audience never will. Okay, and then last, you're trying to sell, not create community. Now, if you're only using social media to sell content to your customers and you're not providing value to your customers, nobody's ever going to engage with your brand. They're never going to buy something from you if you're not pouring into them and nurturing them and engaging with them. So focus on building a community around your brand and providing them with content that they can't get anywhere else. And that's when they're going to fall in love with you and buy from you and go through the next steps in your funnels. If you are not, if you're using the correct targeting, messaging, and strategy with your audience, that's when you'll find the growth with your engagement and with your social media. And that's when you're really going to start reaping the benefits of posting on social media consistently. It may take a little bit of time to get in the habit of tracking metrics and knowing what works and what doesn't, but that's okay, right? Focus on having consistent interaction and engagement with your brand. And I just know that you'll be happy with the results. And if you're not finding the results that you need, check out Content Simplified Academy. So www.contentsimplifiedacademy.com, and you'll find exactly what it takes to make an awesome content plan that creates the results that you want.